Good afternoon, guys, and happy Friday to all of your sunshiny faces. So guys, I honestly woke up early this morning. I was up at 7:30, I don't know, when Jack woke me up. I didn't really get up out of bed until, like, I still sort of, like, dozed off a tiny bit, but I never fell back asleep. Like, I know I didn't end up falling back asleep. Like, I was very, for some reason, like, not like I don't want to say on high alert, but like it was weird. My computer was like resetting, or not resetting, it was like updating, and so it was sort of being loud, so like it didn't keep me awake, like, or it kept me awake, like I couldn't fall back asleep really. And then on top of that too, I do have an alarm set on my computer for it to go off in the mornings, and the last 2 days it did, because it was resetting like then, like 2 nights, like not last night but the night before that, it reset, or like was like updating. And so whenever that happens, for some reason it updates but then it doesn't turn off. It resets a bunch of times but it won't like shut down, which completes it. So my computer, my monitor turns off, but the computer never goes into like sleep mode. So all the lights were like on, like my mouse light was on, the light on like the front of my computer was turned on. So it sort of kept me up too a little bit. And then my printer ended up going off like twice too. So like I said, it sort of kept me awake, but the alarm on there has been going off because it's been like not in sleep mode. It's actually, the computer has actually been on, and for some reason the alarm only goes off if it's not in sleep mode. So I don't know why I actually have it set, either an alarm set on my computer, but I did one time randomly. I set the alarm on there and I never turned it off, because normally it doesn't go off because it's always in sleep mode or it's turned off. So but because it's not when it updates, so whenever it does update, this happens where it doesn't wind up actually turning off, but the monitor still does. But while it's updating, the light stays on the monitor. So like I said, anyways, it ended up also sort of like waking me up, keeping me awake this morning. So I never ended up falling asleep though, because the alarm on the computer ended up going off because it had updated like 2 days ago and was never actually turned off, and I never like hard like reset it and turned it off. So then I ended up doing that also this morning too, like while I was still out of it, sort of waking up. So I was actually very much awake, almost pretty much from 7:30 on to the rest of today. So I ended up finishing my jewel list. I did that actually sort of early today. I was really happy with that. And on top of that too, I also set my planner already for next week. Normally I always wind up doing it on Sunday nights, and I'm sort of just lazy, like I said, and get to it, like do it last minute, like Sunday night. But I ended up setting out my entire planner, and also ended up writing out the days what I'm going to do for cooking the dinners and stuff like that as well. So normally I cook Monday through Thursday, so I have the things set out as far as like what I plan on making. Now that I have the freezer cleaned out, I know what is out there, and on top of that too, I know like what things that I have in the freezer, and then what things I will need to go to the grocery store tomorrow. So the only extra thing that I need for any like meals that I'm going to make is, I did find 2 packages of I have some leftover pasta sauce. So because I got a couple deals on it, and some of the pasta sauce I made with the freezer dinners from last week was older stuff, so I have the ones that I just bought last week. I'm going to use one of those, and I have a bag of frozen meatballs, and we have mozzarella cheese. So the only thing that I need to do subs with, like I need to get a package of like the sub sandwich buns, and so that's the only thing I'm going to pick up at Aldi. Aldi's list, actually I only have 3 things on my list, but a lot of times I go to Aldi and I sort of let Aldi tell me what I what I need. But as far as I know, like I said, I don't think there's really anything else that we need. It's just 2 actually produce sales, and then like I said, those. But again, like we might get there and be like, oh, we needed this, or you know, we needed that, or like, oh, we're out of peanut butter, or like we're out of this thing or whatever. And so, you know, like sometimes we'll be like, oh, oh, we need garbage bags, or, you know, again, maybe they have something in the Aldi finds aisle and I wind up being I get suckered into buying it. So like I said, it looks like Aldi list should be pretty short, and Jewel doesn't actually have a lot of deals going on. They really only have like, I think 3 maybe just for you deals that I was actually going to do, 3 or 4, and then I have a couple little Ibotta offers and then sale stuff. So again, there's not really too much going on at Jewel, but it will be a bigger haul. It's just I don't like, I'll buy multiple of the items. I don't have there's not a lot of different sales sort of going on. Like there's not a ton of little things to do either. So again, I've got some stuff to do at Jewel tomorrow, but I finished that list, and like I said, at Aldi. But that is the plan. I'd love to start doing that as well, like weekly, sort of going through and being like, okay, let's try and plan out like also too like what people have going on too, because like I hate cooking for like you know, if it's only going to be like if my mom and dad have like a date night going on, or if Jack has like something, Jack and my dad have something football related that they have to go to or whatever, and like they might not be here for dinner. Again, like maybe Jack's going out with his friends somewhere, or you know, like something like that, where then I'm only cooking for like 2 people. Normally my meals can feed, again, like 4 to 6 people, so like that's sort of the range. So like I feel really bad like cooking for just like 1 or 2 people that are gonna be here. Like obviously Jack and my dad sort of can eat like 2 or more servings, and we can always have leftovers too. But like I said, it's tough when I, you know, like don't know ahead of time, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I'll probably make this week, and then I hate doing that, like, oh, I didn't know that we actually needed to like use this thing up, or we need to use that, or you know, whatever. So that's why I want to, like, now that I know what's in the freezer, I can start planning, you know, do like a weekly, like this is the stuff I have in the freezer, or these are again some of the things, like not thinking ahead with like, again, the sandwiches that I plan on doing, like the sub sandwiches, instead of being like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna do that thing. And I don't have like the sandwich buns, then I'm like, oh, I can't make that actually, you know, or whatever. And so then it'll just sit in the freezer and sit in the freezer, and then I'll never make it. And then, you know, like I don't get the opportunity to. So, you know, I'll just keep pushing it off if I don't remember to like get the extra thing maybe that I need, the 1 extra thing or whatever. And again too, like if it's like a dump dinner and I needed like rice and I didn't realize like, oh, we're out of rice or whatever, because a lot of times I will just make like the rice separately or something like that. So again, there's situations where sometimes I do need to have like an extra item or 2 that we don't normally keep on hand in the house for a dinner that I already have pre-made, like a freezer dinner. And so, you know, or ingredients that I have that, again, none of the stuff for the sub sandwiches is together. It's just all ingredients that we already have on hand, except for the subs sandwich buns, and so I need those. But again, that's the kind of stuff that like I need to plan out ahead of time so that I know like I'm going to make this on this day. So again, stuff might wind up coming up and changing, but to make sure that, again, I have stuff on the days when we plan on cooking. And on top of that too, like on Wednesday we ended up making the mac and cheese. Still have half of the brick of mac and cheese left over, or the cheese from the mac and cheese, because I got the big 2-pound package, and so I still have half of it left over. I want to use that up and so it doesn't go bad, so I was going to do that again this week. But like I said, I need to make sure I have that scheduled for a day, because if not, I'll be like, oh, I forgot to make that. Like, you know, like it'll be, again, Friday or Saturday on a day when I don't cook and my mom does, and I'll be like, oh, I wanted to get that made like this week or whatever, and then I don't have the opportunity to, so I have to do it for next week. So I think that planning out the meals will be really helpful for like me, because I never would do that. I would just be like, whatever I find in the freezer is what I'm gonna make. Whereas like if I go out there and like, again, maybe spend like a day on like a Saturday or Sunday or whatever and go through the freezer, and I can be like, oh, we have this stuff, or you know, then I can grab that from the grocery store if we need an extra ingredient or whatever the thing is, and plan that out ahead of time, so then I also know like what days we're gonna wind up making it. And also too, so that I don't put on myself like last minute, like I try and do something really easy on Thursdays, because we normally go to the grocery stores on Thursdays. So I think that's when I'm going to do what's it called, the sub sandwiches. Like, people can start fixing that for themselves if we're not home in time for dinner, and so that nobody is getting hungry and being like, it took you like forever to get back home or something like that, you know. And again, people are hungry and need food. You know, again, the food can be done and ready, you know, and you know, again, it's nothing extra that needs my tending to, like, you know, oh, I have to make rice to go with it, or I have to make this thing to go with it. You know, it's going to be a pasta dinner, so I have to make the pasta also, whereas, you know, I cook the meat in the crock pot ahead of time or whatever it is. Like, that sub sandwiches, perfect. Nobody really needs to do anything. It's just like, oh yeah, they're done. You know, go ahead and turn the crock pot off. And honestly too, it'll probably be a thing where like I'll throw them in maybe at noon and then just leave them on keep warm like after they're done cooking, because I don't have to worry about, you know, I just need to keep them warm at that point. So then people can just fix themselves a sandwich whenever they want to, you know, and by the time I leave, again, people can have them while I'm gone or whatever. So it's not something that requires my extra attention. So that's why Thursdays I try and make something a little bit easier. And then again, on a day where I'm like, okay, we don't have a lot of stuff going on or whatever, or again too, like for making the mac and cheese, it's easier if I have Jack's help. Normally he always shreds the cheese, whereas if he can do that portion of it, sometimes I need to communicate with him, like, on Wednesday we're planning on making mac and cheese, can you shred the cheese for me? Like, just don't plan anything, you know, like crazy to do on Wednesday night or whatever that, you know, you're gonna be gone for. Or again, hopefully you don't have too much homework, you know, like, you know, that whole sort of thing. Just like that communication of, you know, like figuring out if people are free to be able to help with something maybe or whatever on certain days is, like I said, you know, again, helpful for me to know ahead of time. So I've never really tried to do this, I don't think, really that often. Like, on occasion I sometimes would. I might like grab like a freezer dinner or two out for like maybe the next day or two in advance, but I never like plan out the entire week in total. So this is, like I said, a little bit new, different for me, interesting. I will try it out. Hopefully, again, it does wind up working out well. But again, I would like to do it where I'm sort of rotating between, like, you know, sometimes I get stuck in a funk where like all I want to do is just dump dinners, and sometimes all I want to do is like just stuff that I throw in the oven. And sometimes that's hard too on days when, like right now it's not because it's the middle of winter, but sometimes in summer, if there's days, or you know, spring, even fall too, if there's days where it's really hot out, we don't want to turn the oven on. But if I haven't planned something out or haven't defrosted something ahead of time, then we wind up having to make something last minute, like chicken Kiev or like chicken patties to go with pasta or something like that. And then it winds up heating the house up. And when it's summertime out, and again, it's hot, it's 90 degrees outside, the last thing we want to do is turn the oven on and try and make it any hotter in the house, and make the poor air conditioner have to work double time because I decided that, ooh, I forgot, you know, to do something that was easier. So that's why normally in the summer, I'm real heavy on dump dinners and stuff I can do in the crock pot because it doesn't heat up like the oven or the stove has to. So again, it's all that sort of like mindfulness and preparing and stuff like that for those type of things, and just again that communication and figuring that kind of stuff out. So like I said, guys, I already have that done for next week. That is how productive of a week I've had so far, as I'm already preparing for next week. And again, I feel like waking up early this week has really been helpful in all of that. So anyways, guys, in order to get to the grocery store tomorrow, though, I need to go to bed. So I'll see you guys all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see y'all for some shiny faces tomorrow. So bye, guys.